This is Matt for Two Boxing. Delighted to be joined by boxers Savage Dan, Sky Sports Adam Smith. Boys, we're coming off the back of an incredible fight week between Khan and Brook, and we've bounced straight into another one. Josh Taylor, Mr. Undisputed. Start with you, Dan. Talk to me. Huge fight against Jack Catterall.
A huge fight. I'm guessing, everybody sees Josh as the overwhelming favourite, but I see something in Jack's eyes where he loves being the underdog. I spoke to him on Monday. Seemed cool as a cucumber. He thinks he's going to win this fight, and it's a tall order. But the interesting part is no one knows how good Jack Catterall is. It's a level he hasn't been to. It doesn't mean he can't get to it. It's actually, I think, a better fight than people are given credit for.
Yeah, I was about to say, we always find out how good you are when you take that step up, but this is a big step up. Adam, do you concur with what Dan says?
I think it's a very good point that Dan's making. We don't know how good Jack Catterall is. El Gato, he's done everything that's been asked of him so far, undefeated. But it is a big jump up from the likes of your Tyrone Nurses and Nahara Davis and good domestic fighters to someone in Josh Taylor, who I believe is particularly special. We've watched Josh since he was an amateur. Brilliant, standout, Commonwealth Games gold medalist. Really enjoyed his professional journey so far. We've been part of it on Sky, but not enough. I've missed that. I've had to watch him on TV too many times, and I'm delighted to have him back through our obviously connections with Top Rank. Todd DeBerth is very excited about Josh, and along with Top Rank and Boxer and Sky, we can expect a fantastic night on Saturday. Battle of the Unbeatens, all the undisputed treasure here for the first time, all four belts on British soil, and I think Josh Taylor is he's a star in the boxing world. We'd like to make him a superstar and transcending the sport, and I believe he's got the quality to do that, but he's got to get past Saturday, and he's got tough business against Jack Catterall.
It's Josh Taylor, obviously, we mentioned in the boxing world, he's massive, everyone knows Josh Taylor. Is this about now trying to get him to break through to the casual fans, the people at home, to make him a household name like Tyson Fury did in recent years where he burst through? Is that what he's got to try and do now?
Yeah, I think that's our job, Boxer and Sky Sports and Top Rank, of course. But our job is now to give him a bigger profile. He is too good of a fighter to go unnoticed. For me, he is the best. One of the best pound for pound, definitely the best British for me. People argue that maybe Tyson Fury as well, but look, he is that good that he deserves and warrants a bigger profile. We have to give him that. A lot of his biggest achievements have come in front of either no crowd or a partial crowd. So, the most successful years so far have kind of gone under the radar, and we have to kind of claw that back, get everybody to understand just how special he is, because he is good, better than anybody can ever imagine. He is super confident, got a big personality. He's personable. People love him as well, So he's honestly there's so much to love about him.
And he's got an edge to him, Dan. He reminds me very much of when Carl Froch had gone around the world and was beating the top quality super middleweights, but maybe outside the trade wasn't known enough. Then he came back to Sky Sports. We had him in a few fights, obviously at the end of the Super Series, the Glenn Johnson win, we had the loss to Ward, and then we had a big night in Nottingham when he fought Lucian Bute, and that was the game changer, really. That was the way we could move him towards the box office nights. And I think this particular night on Saturday is the first step in the Josh Taylor journey of bringing him to the wider audience and utilising our platform to make sure that people are aware of how good he is, because talent-wise, I think he's really, really, really good. And I think that you can argue, obviously, who's the best. Tyson Fury's the best heavyweight in the world, let alone Britain. But Josh Taylor, reminds me a little bit of Joe Calzaghe and that sort of quality. Obviously, he's a southpaw, and Joe, for many years, I thought was our greatest fighter. And Josh has still got a long way to go. He wants to become a two-weight champion. He's got a great division above him. We were with Terence Crawford last week. How excited we be to get Terence back over here fighting in Edinburgh Castle this summer or next summer. Love that. But I think Josh Taylor can go on to become a two-weight champion. I just believe that with a little bit of extra platform, a little bit of extra love, a little bit of extra sort of spreading the word, Dan, isn't
profile,
it?
Yeah. Look, one thing he's probably not had is, the biggest dance partners.
Yep.
You know, he's gone and collected every single belt, but he's done it quite quietly. Once he goes up to 147, if he goes up to 147,
Spence,
there's
Crawford,
only big names up there. You know, any of these fights are the ones that are going to raise his profile and give him, you know, the respect that he deserves from everyone.
And the good thing is Top Rank have got a 4-year deal with us. Boxer have got a 4-year deal with us. We can build this story. You know, the Boxer fighters have got the opportunity, the Top Rank fighters have got the opportunity. We can do cool things like having Michaela Mayer over in Cardiff the other week, Clarissa Shields, and I'll work with Dimitri Salita, Chris Eubank, and I'll work with Wasserman. I think, look, it's very good that Ben's, you know, able to do that Todd's able to do that we're working in unison together to put the biggest and best fights on. And I think Josh Taylor has come to us at the right time. There's plenty of time still, but he's got to get past Jack Catterall, and it's not an easy start. He is an overwhelming favourite, but Jack, we don't know how good he can be. He's with a very good trainer in Jamie Moore, and look, Jack's opportunity is there, and he's going to enter hostile territory. He's going to have to climb up a level or two, but can he do it? We'll see.
I have to say, in the gloves are off, it's not always a giveaway, because you see people get the better of someone in the ring, it doesn't happen. But I thought he handled himself well with someone who's very confident, holds court, as I would say Josh Taylor does all the time, very well. His mouth is very quick as well as he's good in the ring, and he was very calm, didn't give anything away, and obviously he's got a team like Jamie Moore with him. Is that sort of play to his advantage, that he hasn't really sort of engaged with Josh in that verbals? Because we know Josh would like that, something to rev him up. Is that sort of help him a little bit coming into this, Dan?
Yeah, I think it's smart from Jack. He obviously he doesn't want to get too involved in all the verbals. He's here to fight. Josh is Ring Magazine champion, is unified, undisputed champion. He might, you know, get complacent, and sometimes he needs something to fuel the fire to make him tick over a little bit more. Sometimes that is a bit of needle, you know, and he likes to get involved. You know, he did the same thing with O'Hara Davies, and they went back and forth, and it spurred him on to have such a big performance. Jack's not giving him anything to really bite on. I think it's quite smart, you know. Maybe it's not in Jack's personality, but he's also just maybe doesn't want to give Josh that.
Do you know what? We've had 3 gloves are off recently, 3 different rivalries. Eubank and Williams, no love lost. Kell Brook, no love lost. Although wonderful respect between the pair afterwards, which was brilliant for boxing. These two get on. These two have respect for each other. You know, Jack's been waiting his opportunity. He was out in Vegas cheering Josh on, you know, against Ramirez. So they don't have to be as nasty, but they're both fighters. They're both now, you know, in this fight week of making weight, and it's all becoming very serious now, so it becomes really intense. And also, you know, Josh has got his family here, he's got his fans here, he doesn't want to give up his treasure. He's absolutely focused on this, and for Jack, it's an opportunity to change his life. He's a quiet guy, he's a very intelligent guy, he's got a lovely little team around him, and they believe that they can shock the world on Saturday night. So, we're in for a treat, the fans are in for a treat. February, I mean, can we make this happen in March, April, May, June, July? We may need a lie down after all this. I mean, it's been exhausting, hasn't it?
It's one after the other. It is one after. But we've looked at this February schedule from last year.
It's a special,
and it's just such a big special.
And you can't do this all the time.
No, you can't. It's a springboard though for what we want to do this year. But what a month.
There's ways to enter a year though, and then there's this. This is completely different level from Kell Brook to undisputed Josh Taylor. And you mentioned Eubank. It's a mega month for you guys.
You see, it is. It's interesting. So in the boxing world, in our world, in the trade, of course it is. This is the undisputed title. It's very different to 2 35-year-olds who should have fought 5 years, 6 years before. Of course it is. But in terms of the casual fans, they really got the Kell Brook story. And if you go down the street, obviously not here in Glasgow, or if you ask your friends who sort of, we like a bit of boxing, they might not know Josh Taylor. They certainly won't know Jack Catterall. So this is our job now to utilise the platform and push it. And of course, Dan, expert on the social sort of digital areas, and I think that's what's come up we talk about the likes of Calzaghe or back in the day Ricky Hatton, they didn't have the social and digital world that these guys and girls have now. It's fantastic. It's great to see. We saw Savannah and Clarissa argue at ringside the other night. That went viral. You know, something happens here, Josh and Jack, that goes, and so they can utilise that. But they know they're going to be on Sky Sports. We have record-breaking audiences for Chris Eubank. We had the world was watching us last week in Manchester, and so that's really going to help the likes of Josh Taylor and Jack Catterall, who are known in the trade and who are very, very good, but are not yet known in the general sporting public.
Well, you mentioned last week, let's just have a quick recap. We won't go over it fully, but obviously Kell Brook got what he wanted in the end. Someone mentioned all the hurdles he had to get over with, obviously the weight in the contract, changing the gloves in the ring. I don't think I've seen it before. I'm not even sure the full reason. I heard horsehair and stuff like that going around. I don't have a clue what was going on, but he managed to get that. We'll start with you, Dan. How good was Kell Brook on that night?
He was special, you know. I said before the fight that I was expecting a career best performance from someone. I just had a feeling with what was on the line, whoever was going to win that fight needed to perform better than they'd probably ever performed. And Kell Brook, for my liking, I think that was a career best performance. You know, people wouldn't have been shocked if Sean Porter had got the decision in America. He's had big wins, but against the likes of Frankie Gavin. I think this is his standout win. You know, and I see a glimmer of, I don't know, there's a spring in his step now.
Yeah.
I don't think we see a Kell Brook retirement. I think he fights on. I certainly want to hear all of the lights again. That ring walk made my hair stand on its end. It's special. It was special there. I went home, watched it on the broadcast. It was special on the broadcast. It was just, I think he was punch perfect.
Adam, thoughts? Kell's performance looked like the old Kell Brook to me in there a little bit. I mean, he was very composed, didn't let the crowd get on top of him. The way he looked to have done it really well, and it was almost punch perfect.
I sort of agree with Dan in that it was a career best performance. I think going out to America at that time and beating Sean Porter, who was, the next big thing, was a phenomenal achievement. And I don't think Kell got enough credit for it. It was a close fight. I thought he won the fight. Others didn't. So maybe that took a little bit of gloss off it. And you've got to put it into perspective that, Amir Khan and Kell Brook were at their peak 4 or 5 years ago. But I knew, having followed the story for close on 17 and a half years, how much they wanted to win this fight, or moreover, how much they didn't want to lose this fight. And I think that's why they got themselves into incredible condition, and they gave us one last great hurrah. Kell was brilliant. It was a fantastic performance. He rolled back the years. I thought he got better and better the way he sort of controlled the ring. His timing was spot on. He didn't panic. He was ruthless. But as for Amir Khan, who obviously has seen better days, his resilience, his courage, his pride and heart, bucket loads. And anyone that tells me that Amir Khan's chinny again, they can watch the Maidana fight and they can watch Kell Brook's fight, because he went out on his shield. He owes us nothing, Amir Khan. He's been nothing but sensational to watch in the ring. The ups and downs have been fantastic, and I hope that he goes and spends some time now with his beautiful family and enjoys his future. As for Kell, he's got a difficult decision. Does he go out on top like Carl Froch and Lennox Lewis and Johnny Nelson and Joe Calzaghe? Is there no better place to go than now? But of course, he looks so good, so there is the glint in the eye. I agree with Dan. I did see something afterwards that I thought he wants more of this. But that's up to Kell and his family, and they'll make the decisions. There's the Conor Benn situation. There's the Chris Eubank one, which I think is probably maybe a step too far, unless they can drag Chris down in weight. But there's big names out there for him. But for Kell, is there any better time to go than now? But it's these are prize fighters we're talking about.
I think the question I asked myself was, is he going to get a buzz that's equal or better than what he's just done? And I'm not sure, unless he fights for a world title and he's against the odds and does it. If that's
I don't even think about a world title. I think that was his nemesis. He was haunted by Amir Khan for his whole career. He went back to Dominic Ingle. Of course, he would have wished Brendan was still alive. This was everything for Kell Brook. I think if he had lost the fight, he would not be in a great place. And I think the fact that Amir has got other things in his life. This was all about Amir Khan, which is why I'm sort of torn about the retirement or not, because can he reach those heights again? I agree with Dan, the all of the lights, the ring walk, the whole electricity of the night, the atmosphere. I'll tell you over a coffee one day about what actually happened behind the scenes in the gloves, because I have never seen anything quite like it. And actually to change the gloves in the ring and not warm up with the gloves, it just added to this, to the powerful performance of Kell Brook, and that if he was a B-side, it didn't show in any way. He just wanted the fight so much, and I told you on the on the tape afterwards. I mean, all of that. It just was Kell Brook's night, but it was also Amir Khan's courage as well, and I think the respect that they gave each other in one of the most endearing post-fight press conferences I've ever witnessed at any stage in boxing was just heartbreaking, heartwarming, refreshing. Just sitting next to Amir and seeing the state he was in, and yet he refused to wilt in there, and yet Kell almost had no marks on him. He looked like he'd be reinvented. That's the brutal business of boxing. But also it was a great night for boxing, because the young could look up and see that even after all the hate and the words that were shared, they shared a spirit in the ring, and afterwards they can hug and they can hold each other, and there is no sport like this. So it was incredible. It's taking time for it to all sort of sink in, really, because I think it was very personal for a lot of us who've been following the story as well as the two fighters.
Absolutely. Like I said with you, Dan, I think I've watched that ring walk about 5 or 6 times, the ones I've got on my phone. Look, boys, we'll catch up further in the week. Thanks for talking to Into Boxing. Appreciate both of your time again.
No problem at all. Mate.